Any suffering that we have comes from our own thoughts. Period. There's no other. You can blame it on something outside of you, but it's not a truth, because that something outside is only something outside. It doesn't have to affect you unless you have a thought that it's affecting you. That's how things outside of you affect you. It's not the thing that's happening, because that is just what it is. It's outside of you, and it really has nothing to do with you. Even if they're directing it towards you, it doesn't have to have something to do with you. The only thing that makes it so is your thought inside your head. Oh, that's about me. Oh, they're making me feel bad. They're making me feel bad. Now, when you say that inside of your own mind, that is telling yourself you are powerless. And you are not. You actually have all the power to do whatever you want to in your life. You can be happy every day. You can be at peace every day. You can do whatever you want to inside of your own self. But you have to do it. No one else can do it for you. They may temporarily come in and make you feel good. Like coming to meditation class, that makes you feel good. You go home and then you don't think the way you thought in meditation class, and your thoughts start taking you to places that make you feel not so good, right? Mm-hmm. This is how it works. If you take control of your own self and say, you know what, even if you did what you think is a mistake, it's not, first of all, it's not a mistake, it's a learning experience. Everything we do in life is teaching us something. It's teaching us. That's how we learn. If we didn't do anything and we didn't have any kind of, suffering, we wouldn't know. We would just go on just without thought. But if we have these bumps in the road where we think we've made a mistake, that's only your teaching. That's teaching you what you either want to do or don't want to do, what creates suffering or what doesn't create suffering. And it's all in your mind. Every single bit of it is a thought you're having in your mind. And that's where it originates. That's where the balance originates, and that's where the suffering originates. Both in a thought that you're having. So what thought do you want to have? And the more you do that, the more you are aware, you're being mindful of your thoughts, sati, right? We know what sati is. It's mindfulness, right? And the more we do that, the more we take a check on, okay, what am I thinking? What is that thought? What is it creating? Ask yourself. You're the one in the driver's seat, period. No one else. I may be saying, hey, if you go down that road, it could cause you suffering, but you're making the choice whether you want to think it or whether you don't want to think it. And you can redirect your thoughts. Everyone can. Everyone has done it. But we try to make ourselves feel like a victim. I can't do it. I don't know how to do it. Those are all stories you're telling yourself. They're not truth. They're only a story that you're repeating to yourself. And you put yourself in a victim position, and you're not a victim. No one here is a victim. We have all had experiences that were not pleasant experiences. Every one of us. There's not one person here who hasn't had an unpleasant experience. But that's your teaching. Take from it. Learn from it. Experience it. Don't try not to experience things. But don't sit in misery, because then all you're doing is suffering. Over and over and over, suffering, 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 when it's not necessary. You can go, okay, I see that. I see that. Sometimes it's difficult. That's what we call Mara, or what we call it in English, hard time. You know, it's something coming that's trying to test you. We get tests all the time, right? Oh, we would call it the devil, right? That's what we would call it. We would go, Americans in the Western world, they call it the devil. We call it Mara. In Thailand, they call it Mara. But what it is it's just testing you to see, well, what are you going to do? You're going to take it. You're going to go with it. You're going to go into the suffering. You're going to follow it down that trail. Or are you going to say, ha, 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 I see you. You're not going to get me again. See? And that's what I do. Like, I'm telling you exactly, and I do this all the time. I tell you exactly what I do in my own life not to suffer. And I don't suffer. It doesn't matter what somebody does to me or says to me. I mean, people say not so nice things to me. You know, it happened to me recently. And I realized, I looked at the situation and I'm like, oh, that's them talking about their own self. And that's what it is almost 100% of the time. When someone is angry with you, they're not really angry with you. They're angry with themselves because they're seeing what you're doing and they're either wishing they could do that, right? Or they're seeing themselves in you and they don't like what they see. If we're not doing right, they see that. If they're angry about that. Oh, I see that in myself. And it makes me mad that I see that in you and it's in me, you know? And so they'll voice it as if they're angry with you, but really they're angry with their self. This happens all the time, you know? And if you're doing right and somebody's angry with you, it's because they want to do that. They want to be free of suffering, but they're angry because they don't know how. So they're going to be angry with you because of that. You know, if you look at it like that, if you see it like that, you understand you're no longer the victim of that. You're the driver, and you're able to direct it any way you want. You can say, oh, yes, I see they're suffering. So I don't need to suffer because they're suffering, right? Or you can say, oh, they're being ugly to me. Oh, I'm going to get angry with them. And what does that do? That's why the world is at war. Mm-hmm. That's why the world is at war, because somebody is angry and another person gets angry too. Then there's war. But if one person gets angry and the other one doesn't, how can there be war? Right? If you give love where there is anger, it will turn the anger to love. It will, 100% of the time. Mm-hmm. I do it all the time. This world has very little people who are not in suffering and a lot of people in suffering. So when people see me and they see that I am not in that suffering, they aren't happy with me a lot. It happens a lot. I don't care because it doesn't affect me. It only affects me if I let it affect me. But I have grown enough in this, and I have been taught enough that I know how to change that from anger into kindness by giving kindness. That's the only way to do it. If you're angry and they're angry, you got two angry people, and there's no way that you're going to make something good out of two angry people. But if you have love and compassion, right? Master Tongba used to say metta, mudita, right? Karuna, ubeka. right? Metta, loving kindness. Mudita, compassion. No, karuna, compassion. Mudita is having joy for others' well-being. That's what mudita is. Being happy when someone else has something good happen. Not being angry or resentful or hateful towards them, being joyful for them. That's what mudita is. So you've got metta, karuna, mudita, and upekkha. See, if you have metta, which is loving kindness, and you have the compassion, right? And you have this joy for others' goodness, that they're experiencing some good things in their life and you're happy for them. That creates a balance, which is upekkha. It's automatic. And all those are automatic. It's just like doing truth inside yourself. When you do truth, then loving kindness automatically comes. But if you're not doing these inside yourself, you can't expect it to happen for you. You actually have to give the effort, right? So those are the things that Master Bhumni taught, right? The two great masters that I've had in my life. And for the Westerners who don't know what master means, it doesn't mean what it means in the Western world. It means a great teacher. That's what that means. And so the two gave me specific things that would change my life if I took them and gave the effort and used them. And those things are Master Bhumni. We've been over it. Satyatam, truth inside yourself. Metta-tam, right? Loving kindness. Kanti-tam, patience. Vidya-tam, this is a big one. Vidya is effort. Effort. If you do not give the effort, how can you expect something to come? You can't, You cannot not give effort and then say, why is it not happening? Well, you didn't give the effort, right? And upekkha, see, they have similar things, right? Mudita, right? Karuna. What was the other one I said?
Metta. No.
Mudita, metta, karuna, upekkha.
Okay.
So if you have loving kindness, if you have compassion, if you have joy for others that are doing good, right? The balance comes. So they both are saying, look, if you are kind and loving and truthful and patient, and it says the same thing. They tell you these things over and over, but it's all the same effort, right? Joy in other people's joy. Joy in other people's success. This is a hard one for some people because they resent other people's success, right? But if you look at it and say, oh, I'm happy for them. This is beautiful for them, right? If you consistently do this inside yourself, even if you were resentful before, but if you consistently say to yourself, no, I'm going to be happy for them, your resentment turns into happy for them. But if you consistently say in your mind, your thoughts, no, they suck. I'm mad at them because they got what I wanted, right? You're never going to have non-suffering because you're wishing suffering on someone else. And what happens when we direct something out? It's a boomerang that comes back to us. Period. That's the way it is. We are creating our own karma, our own, whatever you want to call it. It doesn't have to be called karma. Our own reality, our own life. Everything that happens in our life, we have directed it in some way. You can go back and look at it. Whatever's going on inside of you, you have brought it for yourself. No one else has brought it to you. You've brought it for yourself. And the minute you take responsibility for that and you say to yourself, you know what? I'm going to learn from these teachings that I have been teaching myself. Because really, that's what those are. Every time you go through a suffering, it's a teaching. Every single time. But if you do not take it as a teaching and you just suffer over it and you continue to say, why, and you don't look at the lesson, you're wasting your time. There's a lesson for you. And you are your greatest teacher. Sure, I come here whenever I can. It used to be once a week, but it's not always once a week anymore because I have places I got to go. But when I come here, sure, I give you tools to use. But you are your own teacher. But we have many teachers in our life, and if we don't listen to them, we don't learn anything. Nothing. Zero. It doesn't mean anything. I had teachers when I was in college, and I didn't hear them. I was on robot, just doing what I had to do to pass the class. But they could have taught, I could have learned so much from them, but I chose to be on autopilot, just to do the minimum thing I had to do to get by and get through the class and make a good grade in the class. I wasn't really trying to learn what they were offering me. I was just trying to pass the class, to make the A, to get it. And I did. I mean, I made A's when I was in college. But did I learn from it? No. I can honestly say I can't remember anything that was taught to me in college. It's crazy to think about like that. But if you actually take the things that are being given to you, offered to you, and you take them and you use them for your own good, for yourself, beautiful things happen. Beautiful things.
Is that what's sitting there?
No?
Hi, Al.
Hi, how you doing?
So this is how it works. This is how it works. Learning from your mistakes. What you call a mistake. It's not. It's not. It's actually a teaching for you. And the more you understand this, the more you'll be able to be at peace and out of your suffering. This is the way life is. We cannot blame it on someone else. It's no one else's fault. These are your teachings. They're your own personal teachings. They're not for anyone else. What you're teaching yourself by doing things and then going, oh, I'm suffering over this. There's your teaching. The minute you start suffering, look for your teaching. Because it's there. It's teaching you what you don't want to do and what you should be doing. It's there. But if you do not pay attention and you just do the suffering, then that's all you will get, suffering. Over and over and over again. But it doesn't have to be like that. It can stop immediately, instantly. Instantly, as soon as you recognize your teaching, your suffering will stop. I promise you that. As soon as you go, oh, I see what that's trying to show me. See? It's not a mistake. Why did I do that mistake? No, stop saying that. Look for your teaching. It's there. And then take it and say, okay, I know what I need to do. It's not that. I already did that. That made me start down the path I've been down 100 times, right? Because we've been down the suffering road millions of times, literally. Like there's no question about it. From the time we're born until now, we've been through millions of suffering. And that's no exaggeration. That's a truth. But the minute you look at what you are teaching yourself, see, and don't try to teach anybody else because that is not their teaching, that's yours. And if you're not doing it, why are you trying to teach somebody else to do it? Right? It doesn't work like that. And they'll tell you eventually, they may not right away, but eventually they're going to say, oh, see, you're not doing it. Why are you telling me to do something that you're not even doing yourself? Happens all the time. But if you just pay attention to your own thoughts and your own things that you're supposed to learn, it's personal. It is personal. It's not everybody's doing the same thing. It's personal. That's why they said, when I was being taught, that's why they told me, you have to do it for yourself. Over and over again. Like they never said, oh, we can show you this is it. No, they said, you have to do it for yourself. You have to learn it for yourself. Ah, okay. Because it's personal. You are being taught personally by yourself, by your own essence. You're being taught if you pay attention. But if you're not paying attention, you get sidetracked with everything else that is coming in. And then you're suffering and you're not paying attention and you're losing all this good teaching that you have. And it's so beautiful if you pay attention. That's why sati, mindfulness, is so important. That is like the key that's unlocking your personal teaching. You understand what I'm saying? Like this is important because I'm leaving here in less than a month. And every time I get ready to go somewhere, I try to give you as much as I can before I leave, right? This is important. Be your own teacher. Pay attention to the things that you are teaching inside your own self. They are not mistakes. They are meant to show you something. If you're not looking for it, you will miss it. And then you go back into this cycle of suffering and trying to figure it out and get sidetracked in all the chaos. Happens all the time. Don't get sidetracked. Pay attention. Sati, take time to take a breath. Breathe in, hold it for 5 seconds. Breathe out, hold it for 5 seconds. Then you're paying attention. If you just breathe and you're not paying attention, breathe in, experience the breath that you're taking in. And when you breathe out, experience letting go of garbage that you've got built up inside of you. That's what your lungs are for, to get rid of junk inside of you, right? That's exactly what it's for. And sati is for the same thing, only it's for your mind. You see, everything in our body is a system that's just almost magical. And the more you understand it, the more you realize, wow, I have control over things that I never thought I did. Your kidneys are your filtration system. They're going to get rid of poisons and toxins in your body. But if you're feeding it poison and toxin over and over again, it's going to overload your liver and your kidney. That's what happens. And then people get cancer, kidney cancer, liver cancer. And they wonder why. It's the junk that you're drinking or eating. Your body has to filter that out because your body lives on minerals and vitamins. It doesn't live on junk. But if you're inputting junk, it's struggling. It's struggling to clean it. And it's overloading. And that's why we get kidney stones. That's why we get stones in our gallbladder, have gallbladder attack. These are our cleaning systems in our body. If we pay attention to what we're putting in, we can start healing our own body. That's what it was meant for. That's what herbs were meant for. That's why they grow out of the ground. That's why things are grown out of the ground, is because it's for us to eat and fix our body with. But we've gotten so accustomed to, let me stop at McDonald's or Burger King or whatever and eat this quick because I'm in a hurry, because I can't take time to take care of myself. You see? But if we slow down just a little bit and start having mindfulness, you'll start having mindfulness about what you're putting in your body. Because you'll start thinking, oh, well, if I'm worried about what I'm putting in my mind, I'm going to start, giving thought to what's going in my body. The two coincide. And you can be this beautiful machine that works like clockwork. There's no suffering. There's just peace and bliss. And it's this balance. And it's beautiful. I'm working on that myself. See, I'm speaking what I'm working on, right? I've got the mind thing pretty good, but the body thing is a whole nother story. And just because I'm vegetarian doesn't mean that I'm eating the correct things. I started looking at what is going in those things that I've been buying. I quit buying those. I started buying only organic.
I learned that from that oatmeal thing you told me, because I looked at the organic oatmeal that you told me to.
Mm-hmm.
And I never, in all these years, I ever looked at an instant oatmeal thing, but it was just oats and just a few words.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I read the other oatmeal, the instant oatmeal, it was like,
yeah.
Remember you said don't buy stuff you can't pronounce?
Yes.
And it had all that, and it had stuff in there. I was like, all that's an oatmeal. So I got the organic.
Yes.
And I'm like, I thought oats were oats.
And there is and you can taste the difference. There is people say to me all the time, oh, there's no difference. They're just, snowing you. That's not true. I'm sorry. There may be some that aren't truly organic, but most of the time when I get organic, I can tell the difference in the taste, in the taste alone. Now, if I can tell the difference in the taste, think about what it's doing inside of me. See, I've started healing my body. I started with my mind. Because if your mindset is not correct, you're not going to care what you put in your body. It won't matter to you. And I'm speaking truth. You'll just be like, I don't care. I just want this. I want this. It doesn't matter, right? This is what you'll speak inside yourself. Even the water. It's not just water. Like these plastic bottles are not good for us. And I'm actually looking at ways, like I had Tom and Sonlight, they bought a water filtration system, and it's not in yet. That's why I have the water. But, we have a water filtration system. Now I'm going to look into getting one for Thailand for the village that I live in, so that we can share this healthy water with them. If you get purified water, you need to put sea salt in it. a little bit of sea salt because your minerals are taken out by the purification. So if you put sea salt in there, you're putting the minerals back in. Yes. Darwin Owen. Y'all should read his book. Yes. He researched, he goes all over the world and he finds the best foods for your body. He finds the best water. And he does it for himself. And then he shared it. So in his book, it tells you what vegetables and what fruits give you which minerals and which vitamins. It's a great book.
Is that the book you?
Yes. Yeah. It's the one I sent to everybody in our class, in our group.
He still loves durian more than any other fruit, and I just can't get
Because you've never eaten it fresh.
I just smell this termite.
It doesn't
What's
smell
that, Dorian?
durian. Yeah, durian.
Smells
You
like
put
it's
it in a bag
rotten.
on the way back in the trunk.
Yeah. It smells like a cross between onion, garlic, and
Poop.
stinky feet, probably is the closest thing I can. But it doesn't taste like that. It doesn't taste like that when you eat it fresh. And it's really healthy for you. But some people just can't get past the smell of it, you know. But really, if
It's
you
not
can,
healthy.
no, it's not. Really, if you can begin with your mind, you know, do your mind. Realize that everything that you're doing, what are you thinking as you're doing it? What are you thinking? What am I thinking? Right? If you just let your thoughts go, they're going to go back to your old way. That's the way it works. If you're not paying attention, you're not having mindfulness, your thoughts will take you right back to where you were every time without exception. There's no exception to that rule. But if you have sati, if you have mindfulness and you start paying attention, you're just always, okay, what am I thinking? What was that thought? Like the minute you start even feeling a little bit out of balance, you need to look at your thoughts because that's what's making you out of balance. Nothing else. There's nothing else. I don't care. You can give me any scenario you want to. You can go through, but let me tell you this, and this is why this and this. No, it's not. It's the thought that you had about whatever that situation was. Period. That's the end of that story. There's no other explanation for it. If you are suffering, it is because of a thought that you had, and it's nobody else's fault. You want to put blame? There's no blame to be had. You're experiencing a learning, a teaching. Take it and learn from it. Don't blame because you're not learning if you're blaming. Take the experience. Take whatever it was that was happening and learn from it. Take it as a great teaching. That's what it is. It's your teaching. I can't say it strong enough because if you recognize it as that, your life will change and it will be so beautiful. I am speaking from experience. I'm telling you, it's so beautiful you can't imagine. You can't imagine being able to sit around someone who is in utter chaos and be at peace inside yourself. It's hard to imagine that, isn't it? Especially when you're working with somebody and they can be an asshole, right? Excuse my language, but that's truth, right? But you're not if you're not joining in with them, you're not the asshole. But there's probably something that they're doing that's reminding you of yourself. Pay attention. because it's showing you, I don't want to be that. So how do I not be that? Where's my thought? And bring your thought into some kind and loving compassion. Because when someone is not kind and not nice, there's something going on inside of them. Truth, right? They're having a battle inside their own mind. You know it because you're familiar with it. You've done it yourself. You've had the battle inside your own mind. So there's no reason for you to battle with them. And there's no reason for you to battle with yourself. You can say, aha, I see, Mara. I see what it is. And I'm going to use this experience to help myself. And it really changes life when you do that. Your life will become peaceful, blissful, and balanced. You will be able to enter anywhere, and it can be utter chaos. Now, I'm not saying you'll stay in the chaos. I'm saying you might enter there and recognize it and turn around and walk back out, right? I do that. If I go in somewhere and there's utter chaos, I'm like, well, I don't need to be here. And there's some places where I do need to enter because there's something I need to do. You all are not there yet, right? But you will be if you do this, if you take these steps and actually use your teaching, the teaching that you're getting from your own self. And I know it doesn't sound correct, but it's truth. I'm telling you the truth. Use it. Give an effort to pay attention to your own thoughts. Give an effort to pay attention to what exactly you're trying to be taught. Like something's trying to teach you, something's giving you things to learn from. You can either learn from them or you can suffer from them. Those are your two options. Learn from them or suffer from them. Your choice. To me, that's beautiful. Like I see it as, wow, that's awesome. Because my entire life I spent not knowing that. I spent my entire 50 years not knowing that I was in complete control of my thoughts and my actions. And even though I said, no, I'm not, the truth was nobody else was putting those thoughts in my head. That's the truth. Nobody else had a gun to my head making me do something. No one. I was choosing these things. I was letting my thoughts go as if I had no control over them. And I suffered over it. But the minute I said, thank you for that teaching, because now I see it. Now I see it. It's a hard concept to grasp. And, I've tried in many ways to explain it. Now I'm trying a different route, right? A different way to explain it. It all means the same thing. And it's all truth. Just like I had Master Tongbai give me, Metta, Karuna, Mudita, Ubeka, right? But I had Master Boomni give me Satchitam, Metatam, Kantitam, Wuddiyatam. They're meaning the same thing. They're just a little bit different, right? Compassion for others, joy. When others have something good happen to them, you're having joy and you're happy for them, right? This is metta. It's just another way of showing you it. That's loving kindness. That's what that is. Having compassion for someone, that's loving kindness. Speaking truth inside yourself, that's being loving and kind to yourself. Most of the time, we sit around and tell ourselves a bunch of garbage about ourselves, and none of it's true. But the minute we start speaking truth, that's loving kindness. You know, seeing someone else be successful and being happy for them, that's loving kindness. You know, if we have jealousy, resentment, that is not loving kindness. That's the opposite. But that's only because we are not having compassion for others. And we're not having compassion for ourselves. This is how it is. If you understand this, you will be successful and not suffering. This is truth. But if you don't understand it, you need to study a little bit more and get an understanding for it. Because that is your key to bliss. That's your key to Ubeka, happiness, peace. That's it. There's no, you can't be resentful, angry, hateful towards someone and expect to have peace inside yourself. There's just no way, right? You cannot. It's impossible. So this is what you have to do for yourself. No one can do it for you. I cannot do it for you. I can give you just tools. I can tell you these things. But me telling you and you doing it, there's two different things. This is the only way. See, I wrote up on the board, who is the one that can change your thoughts? You are, no one else. I can't change your thoughts. I cannot. I can talk to you and I can help you in the moment, but as soon as we're finished, you're going to go and you're going to do whatever you want. And I don't want control over that, and I am not about to take control over that. And I will not feel sorry for you. I will not go there with you because I am staying in balance. I'm going to stay in my balance. It's up to you to do what you want to do inside of yourself. That's freedom. It's a beautiful thing. Take your lessons, learn from them. There are not mistakes. There are not. They're learning experiences. They're teachings. Use them. Even the hardest things in our life, the hardest things that happen in our life are teaching us something. You know, and I've had some hard things. I've had some hard lessons in my lifetime. Many, many, many hard lessons. But they taught me well. And I decided one day that I would learn from them. I didn't always learn from them. And a lot of times I repeated the same mistake over and over again, or the same teaching over and over again, because I didn't learn it the first time. So I had to over and over and over. And eventually I was like, whoa, here we go. This is a teaching I need to learn. Because if we blame it on something or we down ourselves for it, this is only creating more suffering. It doesn't release you from the suffering. But if you say to yourself, okay, what am I going to learn from this? What am I learning? And you take it and you say, okay, I learned I really don't like it when I do this, right? I don't like it. So let me not do that anymore. I'm not going to do that next time this situation comes up. I will have learned my lesson and I won't do that. See, it's teaching you how to live your life if you let it. But if you don't, you're just going through the motions and you're repeating the same thing over and over and over again. It's okay. I mean, if you're okay with it, I'm okay with it. Got nothing to do with me. See? It has to do with you. I'm just here giving you tools and giving you suggestions on what you should do inside your own self, looking at yourself. I can see things. Yeah, I can see things going to happen. Oh my goodness, because I've already been through it. And I can look at it and I'll, do you want a warning? Because I can give you that, right? And most of the time, everybody, yeah, I want it. I want to know. I want to know. So I tell them. Do they always listen? No. Does what I say is going to happen? Yeah. It does, doesn't it? It's not because I want that to happen. I would like to be able not to have it happen. It's because you have started a chain of events. And the only way to stop it is for you to stop it. I usually tell you how you can stop it. If you choose to do that, then you'll stop it and it'll be fine. But if you don't, it's like 2 and 2 makes 4, right? It's not going to make 3. No matter how much you want 2 and 2 to make 3, it doesn't. It makes 4, right? That's what happens in your own life. What you do is going to have a consequence, one way or the other. Always. There's always, it's dependent origination is what they call it. So this depends on this. If you don't do this, this won't happen. That's the way it works. That's just life. That's human life. We cannot change that fact. It is the fact of life. What you do creates something always. There's no getting around it. You've started the dependent origination. This depends on this, depends on this. So if you don't do this, this won't happen. Does that make sense? Is everybody getting that? Because this is the core of it. Like this is the core. And I've had master monks say to me, if you get this, you've got it. Okay. I got it. If you get this, you will have it. So you have to recognize that's why mindfulness is important, because what you're thinking is going to create an action. And that action will create a reaction. It's science. That's what happens. That's just the way it is. I don't necessarily want it to be like that, but it is that way. You cannot change that. That is the rule of human beings. That's the way it is. Why? That's an answer no one can answer, right? No one can answer that. It is what it is. If you do this, this will happen. There's you can ask why all you want to, but it's just the way it is. Sometimes we have to accept things the way they are, right? That's one of them. Every action has a reaction, period. So when you have a thought, you're creating an action, whether you know it or not. So you have to be mindful about what your thoughts are and what you're creating. That's it. In a nutshell, that's all there is. And if you know that, then you can start creating loving kindness, compassion, right? Joy for others' success, right? You can start doing this inside your own self. And it's easy. You want to tell yourself it's hard, and it's not. It's easy. You're having thoughts anyway. Why not have good ones? Right? I mean, that's the truth of it. Why not pay attention? The more you pay attention, the more you have control over what's going to happen in your life. But if you're not paying attention, psh, okay, let's see what happens. And then when something happens, you're like, why did this happen to me? Well, hello. See, this is life. This is it. There's no getting around it. That's just the way it is. No matter if you like it or don't like it, it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter, right? You cannot like it. Doesn't change it. Just makes you suffer over it. That's all. Or you can actually do something inside yourself to make a change. Period. That's it. So we're about at meditation time. So everybody can have sati in their meditation, right? Mindfulness. Knowing where your thoughts are when you're doing it, right? Knowing where your thoughts are while you're meditating. Look at them. Don't marinate them. I didn't say keep them and hold on to them. I said look at them and then determine what you're going to do with them. That's part of meditation, right? All right, let's take a deep breath. Let it out. Another deep breath. Let it out. And another deep breath. Let it out. Just allow yourself to sit in this, and as you breathe, pay attention to your breathing. Take a breath in, counting to 5. As you breathe in, hold it for 5. And then breathe out for 5. And then hold it for 5. And then breathe in for 5. This is giving you control of your breath. jeto imutia. Karuna jeto imutia. Mutita jeto imutia. Ubeka jeto imutia. Okay. Thank you, everybody, for joining. And let's see,